Network Entertainment.
Ladies and gentlemen, our very special musical guest. It took a lot to get her to guest on our show. The one and only Mariah Carey.
Wow. Wow, bringing out the big guns, I see.
That a hero comes along with the strength to carry on, and you cast your fears aside, and you know you can survive. So
Ladies and
when
gentlemen,
you feel like hope is gone. Oh,
our next musical guest, Enrique
Enrique Iglesias.
I can be your hero, baby. I can kiss away the pain.
Wait. Tsaka dapat talaga may
And now we'll stand by you forever. Wait, I need to sweat. You
yes.
can take my breath away.
Tsaka gusto ko talaga yung, it's very him talaga yung,
Yes.
may hagod eh, may hagod.
But you know what? If we're gonna have a musical guest for
Ay,
today's
nako,
episode,
Instrumental dapat.
Instrumental lang talaga eh. Sing it with me. 5, 6, 7.
The iconic.
Oh my God.
The
goosebumps.
iconic.
The goosebumps that I felt in... Oh man, I can't even begin. Okay, before we get into it, welcome to Only Fun. His name is Chico Garcia.
And his name is Scott Summers. I mean, Gina Fillmore.
So should I call you Jean Grey?
Yeah, no, Aurora Monroe. No!
Because this is literally the closest we can get to see a goddess. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. All right. Clearly, if you're a child of the 90s and you heard us sing that intro, wala, like, you already know what we're gonna be talking about. Like, it's one of the most. Alam mo yung, I would put it on the same level as you instantly know that it's Star Wars. Or if I say
Little Drummer Boy.
Tanga. It's Superman. Diba? Like, hirap kausap. Amp.
Gulo mo, amp.
Diba? You know how like there are just so or if I say dun 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 dun, it's Mortal Kombat. Mortal Kombat.
Akala ko sabi ko sana Mission Impossible.
No. Mission Impossible is
Tan 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 tan. Ano?
No, mali yung key mo. Mali yung key mo. Wait, ako na lang.
Tan tan
tan
tan tan.
That's wedding. Tan 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 tan. You know how there are just songs that are just iconic to the IPs that they're tied with.
Yes.
Jurassic Park, or the Marvel Cinematic, if it's the Avengers theme, diba? You already know that it's the Avengers.
Harry Potter, diba? Yung
Harry Potter.
Cling, 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 cling,
Man,
cling, cling, cling.
if you heard this, automatically you know that it's okay. It's the X-Men, the 1990s version of the X-Men.
You know, this is very nostalgic. Kasi TBH, I was too young to watch this. I was, so more of napapanood ko na siya.
Go on, liar. Go on.
So,
show them how it's done, son.
Okay, fine. DJ now.
Show the people. Show the people how it's like to lie with a straight face on. Well, not so straight, but a face on.
Face. With a face on. Pero I must say, this was iconic. This
Super.
was iconic. Um, okay, honestly, when the animated show came out at
Uh,
the time, I have read all the comic books pertaining to the
okay.
X-Men. FYI,
Mm.
my relationship with X-Men is insane. Like this was the first like I really fell in love with comic books kind of love. I mean, Justice League had its place in my heart, but
Yeah.
ito talaga, and also yung Legion of Superheroes sa DC
Yeah.
naman, Legion of Superheroes. So like this is what made me fall in love with comic books.
Uh-huh.
So when the animated series came out, I was like, but I know these stories already,
Yeah.
and I read them in comic books, and so parang hindi ko siya nasundan.
Uh,
And then siguro I watched maybe a season. I don't know which season it was, but
so
I
I
was
feel
able
like
to watch it.
at this time kasi when this came out, 30-year-olds watching cartoons was not exactly like, the norm yet. Parang it wasn't so acceptable. So that's probably why you stopped watching. You didn't want to get judged. Unlike now, that it's completely okay.
Hindi kasi ano nung time na yon, sabi sa akin ni Louie, wag ka naman yung station
Yung
manager.
nagsabi yan ng station
Kasi
man.
parang,
Huwag mo naman
siguro
nun.
pag
No.
DJ ka, parang siguro mas medyo adult fair naman yung panoorin mo. Literally, nasa RX na ako. Anong pinapalabas na sa TV?
Alam mo yung,
Alam mo yun,
habang ako, kakauwi ko lang galing grade 4, na nasa bahay ako, inaabangan ko to sa ABS-CBN. Ano mo yung, papalabas siya na 7 o'clock. I think it was before Are You Afraid of the Dark? Tapos X-Men muna. Ikaw,
ako,
nagtatrabaho ka na.
hindi ako, nagpa-file na for leave kasi kailangan ko pumunta ng Boracay. or baka hindi ko siya napapanood kasi may stick on.
No, but okay. So, like, for me, like, I mean, obviously, before the animated series came out, comic books were expensive. Let's face it.
Yeah.
Not everybody had access to that. My older brother was the one who collected the comic books. He was maingat kasi with it. Like, naka-attache case pa yan. Meron siya nung... And let's face it, a lot of the X-Men comic books also had very mature themes. You know what I mean? Like, there was like decapitation, death, and whatever. So parents weren't exactly very comfortable letting kids, have comic books also. So my exposure to the X-Men was just I would see the covers of the comics that my brother had. He would make me cuento about the characters. Every now and then, if he found a suitable storyline, then he'd let me read it, but under supervision always. So when the animated series finally came out, this was my introduction to the actual X-Men. Alam mo yung parang this was my gateway into that. Oh my God, ito pala yun. Like, of course, I already knew about Cyclops and Wolverine, but I didn't know about sila Morph, Gambit. Alam mo yung mga ganyan na parang, and it was a magical time. It was a magical time. Well, I'm sure that like a bunch of it is also attributed to the time that like because it was you as a child growing up, and so it holds a special place in your heart. And I think Disney knew exactly what they were doing, coming up with this X-Men 97. This it's not even remastered. It's a completely new version of it.
Yeah. Yep.
But it still pays homage to the 90s animated series. The intro alone, like there have been people who have done a side by side already of like the 90s animated series and X-Men 97, and it gives me goosebumps even just thinking about it now. And alam mo yun, parang okay, so I don't know if we won't, I guess we won't get into spoilers or anything, but I distinctly remember kasi in the old animated series, one of the characters died. But anyway, I don't know if they'll do that here because there are a few changes. Like for example, first episode pa lang, Professor X is dead. Like, which is not how the animated series back in the 90s started out. Jean Grey is pregnant. Also, not how the 90s. Magneto becomes the leader of the X-Men within the first episode. So that's these are all.
like we're not just talking about Magneto. We're talking about purple leotards Magneto with Brazilian blowout.
With Brazilian naka-balayage.
Balayage. With Brazilian blowout balayage.
yung glorious Fabio hair. Alam mo yung ganon. Ganon yung buhok niya.
Which for me is his worst costume ever. Kasi marami siyang costumes. Sabi ko talagang dito talaga natapat. Tawan-tawa.
Yung may bonggang wavy hair talaga.
Ang bongga niya. Alam mo yung naka-leotards ka na. Naka-full body pa yung hairdo mo. Talaga sabi ko, ang bongga ni Magneto.
Saka yung eyebrows niya, sobrang on fleek.
Diba?
Diba yung ano?
Alam mo nung unang labas niya, ang sabi ko, slay, Erica. Slay.
Uy! Tigil niyo muna yung pakikinig ng show na to, ha? Oo, ito po ang The Cool Pals.
Hello.
Hello sa inyo, sa mga nakikinig
Tumingin sa
ng
camera.
podcast na to. Hello sa inyo.
Hello.
Ito po ang kwentuhang inuman lang, long table inuman, may uupong guest, at makikipagkulitan sa amin. Ganun lang po ang podcast namin. Kaya kung trip nyo makakinig ng mga lasing,
Ayaw mo, parang ayaw mo na mamilit kung gusto nilang ano.
hindi, bahala na sila. Tapos pag nakinig sa atin, magre-reklamo.
Huwag ka na lang makinig, ganun ba?
Papatanggal nyo sa trabaho?
Hindi.
Hindi nagustuhan?
Hindi yan.
Huwag na kayo makinig!
Sige.
Huwag na!
Dito.
Bumalik na kayo sa show na!
Oo, yun na,
Hindi
yun na
kayo
yan.
pupuntahan! Huwag kayo pupunta sa show na!
Ano?
Pero kung gusto nyo makinig, punta na kayo sa
Oo,
The
pwede
Cool
naman.
Pals.
Ganda naman eh.
Di ako minom.
Ang ganda pa ng intro niya. No, but for real, like there are a lot of changes within the first episode. So if you're worried that like, because I mean, obviously, who doesn't like nostalgia, right? But the thing with nostalgia is, it gets old, real quick. Diba? That's what it is. The parang you can't keep on riding the coattails of what happened in the past. And I feel like this is such a perfect balance of nostalgia and still bringing in something new, because the look and feel of the show is nostalgic.
It is.
But the actual storyline is not. You know what I mean?
Ang weird, parang it is a brand new series. So it was animated now.
Yeah.
Pero naaaliw ako that the animation style that they used was as
It's
if
still 90s.
it's still the 90s. Kasi iba na yun, I'm pretty sure, like 100%, you can make it more like modern
Sharper
looking.
Yeah.
Pero I guess nakuha nila yung pulso na parang like, this is what the people who used to watch,
Saka
they
yung
want a continuation of what they used to watch when they were kids.
The movement, even the lines, like the way they delivered, like si Jubilee, like when he was explaining to, when he was having a conversation with, what was his name? Roberto
Da Costa, si Sunspot.
Oh, is that him? I'm not
That's
familiar with Sunspot. Okay. But yeah, so parang, even the conversations that they were having, alam mo yung parang, it's so 90s, the way that they delivered. And even
ako kay Storm.
I am Storm.
I am Storm.
Tapos, ang ganda na kinall-out siya ni Bishop na parang, well, how did that go? Announcing yourself in front of everyone.
At saka yung drag queen. Alam mo yun, very and here I am, the goddess of weather. Like, tawan-tawa
si Bishop talaga eh. So how'd that work out for you?
And it's so funny kasi parang, they got the perfect balance.
Yeah.
Of it having that very childlike quality of the 90s, but at the
almost
same
campy. Alam mo yung ganun,
almost, and they know what they're doing. Like it's not because the target audience is kids, which I'm pretty sure it is, but also a lot of the adults. And what really impressed me about it is, of course, mishmash na, no? Pero they are like getting the iconic storylines of the comic books.
Yeah.
Like it's, alam mo, you know how like sometimes whenever there's like a live action version of a beloved comic book, there's always the fanboys are like, hindi naman ganyan nangyari sa comics. And we've already settled that. Now, don't expect what happened in the comic books to happen in the live series. Kasi, they're doing different things. So, wag nyo hanapin yun. Ito, para siyang, sige, hanapin nyo. Kasi, they may not be in the same order. Minsan sinusundot-sundot lang nila. Minsan pinaghahalo-halo nila. Pero, it's such great fan service. Yeah. Alam mo yung like, while you're watching, you're like, oh, it's Executioner. Oh, it's Madeline Pryor. Oh, it's yung ganyan. And then 2 episodes, ang dami kong, it's Genosha. I mean, these are all elements of X-Men comic
Not to
books
be
na
confused with Genovia.
iba yung Genovia. Yun yung kaharian ko.
Wow, Anne Hathaway ka, girl.
From Storm to Anne Hathaway real quick. Hindi, pero gets, yung parang, they're not necessarily of the same era,
Right.
pero,
But they
Yeah.
are there. Kumbaga parang
Yes.
they are canonically correct. Parang ganon.
yes, you know, mga lumabas, you have the Morlocks,
Yeah.
you have yung nasa sewer system.
No, plus
You
can
know,
I just say how okay, because I expected it to be yun nga. Parang when I first got word of X-Men 97, I thought that it was gonna be like, oh, okay, this is gonna be a cool nostalgia trip. But I feel like yun nga, I was afraid that it might get old on me easy. Na parang after I watched the first 15 minutes, after I watched the intro, parang okay, just watching the same thing. It's not like as in they buffed Cyclops. They buffed Cyclops by a lot. I like the fact that because Cyclops has always been the leader of the X-Men, right? Pero parang I'm like, okay, outside of, and we all know that like he's a 4th level Omega threat with his laser beams, right? I mean his laser vision. But outside of that, parang what do we really know about him? Like, I mean, okay, so he's the leader and whatever, he's responsible. Pero dito parang, I believe it's the first time that I've seen him use his laser beams to propel him in a different direction.
Yeah.
Na parang it's like when there's a scene in the first episode. Trust us, there's no spoilers here.
Pwede
First
naman,
episode lang.
and you know, yeah, like these
No.
are all like, you know,
So
basta.
they're in the X jet, and then it blows up because there's a sentinel on top of it, and everybody's falling down. And we all know that in the X-Men, only a few of them can fly. So Storm can fly, Jean Grey can fly, but
Rogue.
she wasn't there because she's pregnant. Rogue was there. Beast cannot fly. Wolverine obviously cannot fly. Also, Cyclops can. First angas moment ko was like si Morph. Ang galing nung ginawa ni Morph na he morphed because he can't fly as Morph. But he morphed into Archangel, who has wings and can fly, and then picked up Wolverine and then, flew down. So I'm like, oy, angas, galing, ang sharp. And then everybody's getting saved. Rogue gets Gambit. Storm, I think, got Beast or something like that.
Yeah.
And then Cyclops, he's just like falling down and like, yo, how come nobody's helping Cyclops? And he's like, and he has this super badass anak ng pucha kinilig ako. Because he flips, because he's falling on his back, right? Imagine him falling from the sky, he's falling on his back, and he's watching the team, get saved. And he's like, I'm paraphrasing here, and he's like, good job, team, everybody's saved. And then he flips over, starts looking downward, creates this massive optic blast that slows down his descent. And then as the optic blast goes away, he's naka-superhero pose on the floor. Na yung, alam mo yung, tapos parang, my X-Men to me. I was like, ay puta. Alam mo parang, literal na pamura ako na parang, ay puta. Alam mo ba, iba yung galaw nito. Alam mo yung like,
No, that's true. Tsaka yun nga, like, ang dami nilang mga something new that you can chew on and a lot of stuff from the canon na kikilig mo. Yun nga, like for example, like that was a cool cameo, like the Archangel version of Angel.
Yeah.
And then so far, I'm pretty sure somewhere down the road, lalabas na si Bobby, si Iceman.
Colossus
the ones
maybe,
na hindi pa lumalabas, di ba? Kasi marami pang hindi lumalabas eh. And a lot of the ones who aren't part of this version of the X-Men, nagka-cameo through Morph, di ba?
Yeah, that's true. It's an easy way to
Kaya, di ba, like,
kind of see it.
lumabas si Sabretooth, lumabas si ganito, lumabas.
Yeah.
Ang dami, because nagmo-morph siya, di ba? So, it's a lot of fun. And
even that, okay, there's this one scene where they're surrounded by sentinels and they're like, they tear up the sentinels, one sentinel to the next, tapos biglang, boom, they get outnumbered pa rin. So they're kind of catching their breath. And then Cyclops just presses his communicator and says, give them the forecast. And then the first thing that you hear after give them the forecast is Omega level threat detected.
yeah.
And if you're a big, like, superpower X-Men or Marvel nerd, you know that, like, Iceman, Storm, I think Sentry is like a level 5. Of course, Phoenix. They're level 5. May levels yan eh. Diba? Si Magneto is level 4, Professor X is level 4. The few level 5 Omega threats are Storm, Iceman, if I remember correctly, Storm, Iceman, yun nga, para si Sentry yata or something like that. Basta very, very few of them. And then when I heard that like Omega level threat detected, boom, and then Storm walks in and she's like, oh shit, they're bringing the rain. You know what I mean?
And in full superhero drag.
Oh, alam mo yung,
Alam mo, lagi siyang very camp. Alam mo yung,
casually walks in.
alam mo yung kulang na lang talaga. I was expecting, yung papasok si Storm tapos, sige sabihin mo yung level,
Omega level threat detected. Omega level threat detected. Warning.
Talabas si Storm. Ama na kayo, mga akla.
Ganon.
Ama na kayo, mga akla. Nandito na si Storm.
And the way she said, para diba, ancient sands of the desert.
Diba?
You know, take away these. Alam mo, parang, damn.
I know, but it's so much
nakakatawa lang.
fun.
Because while her entire team is essentially fighting for their lives, here she comes in, casually strolling through the sands of the desert. And it's like, I'm gonna tear shit up.
Tsaka alam mo yung, kanina pa sila nahihirapan, and where were you? Like, thinking up of lines for your entrance?
And then, pinuntahan niya muna yung glam team na para bongga.
Diba? Tapos para like, yeah, like, but my gosh, like, in 2 episodes, kasi the debut episodes are two episodes.
Yeah.
So, I guess every week they'll release 2. My gosh, they went through so much. Like, ilang story arcs na yung dinaanan nila. And it's gripping. And I know that, you know, a lot of it is very cartoonish, pero like, I'm hooked. And I actually know what's going to happen. You know, I mean, like, these are the old... But you don't feel like it's more of the old stuff because you don't know how they'll bring in the old storylines. Kasi nga medyo, basta, there's the pinaka-major thing that happened in the 2 episodes. That's not what happened in the comic book. Basta, it happened, but it happened.
And I love lang that
because of a different situation.
I love that they're really like using up everything or everyone that they can. Like, there's just one scene where Wolverine comes charging towards the Master Mold Sentinel. Gambit goes on Wolverine's back, supercharges his adamantium claws, and Wolverine yells out to Morph, belly up, Morph. And then Morph lies down on the floor, transforms into the blob, and then Wolverine jumps on top of his stomach and then basically bounces off of him and decapitates the Sentinel. Like, it's so... Alam mo yung parang, was that necessary?
Yeah.
No. You know, it could have been, you could have morphed into something else or whatever, or somebody could have thrown you up. Pero they just wanted to show you that, like, look, it's the blob. Alam mo yung ganun na parang, I love that they're not holding back on it. So,
and it's very like kasi wala pa si Colossus, so I don't know if they're going to bring him in, but di ba yung nila sa Sentinels lagi, yung specialty nila ni Wolverine, yung Cannonball special.
Cannonball, yeah.
Yung gaganon si Wolverine tapos
ibabato siya.
Toss siya ni Colossus to where, you know, they want mayhem and destruction, and then usually,
and even remember the Archangel would also lift Colossus. And then he would kind of just bowling ball through everything. Yeah. I can't wait for that.
So, you know, like parang, I guess that's the joy of it. Feeling ko, if you've never watched X-Men or hindi ka big X-Men fan, all of this will be new to you and it will be glorious. You know, it's but because they didn't become an iconic group because they had lousy stories. You know, it's because the stories were amazing. And, you know, generations of kids grew up loving these storylines. So, kung wala ka alam sa X-Men, this is the perfect doorway for you, just like you when you were a kid, right? But if you are a big fan, there's still a lot to enjoy. Kasi nga, parang like, how will they bring up all the different storylines in one
I'm telling you now, if you're unfamiliar with the X-Men, familiarize yourself now. Because that's exactly where the MCU is going.
Exactly.
Like, you already know it.
They're giving you
Deadpool and Wolverine. You already know that that's where it's
they are giving you the reason they updated the animated series is they're giving you a 101
Yeah,
on the
gateway.
X-Men. And once you're familiar with the characters, then when the live action versions come out, you will be super stoked. You will be excited to see them. So, yes, now is the time. And ako feeling ko yung sobrang patikim pa lang yung first 2 episodes because I'm pretty sure ang dami pang hindi lumalabas na, they'll make appearances for sure. How major, how minor, how long, or cameo, it doesn't matter. But we will be screaming in our bedrooms and living rooms or wherever it is we're watching
For
it. It's like,
sure.
it's Nightcrawler. Oh, it's Colossus. Oh,
Actually,
it's,
no, wala pa si Kurt. Wala pa.
Wala pa si Kurt, di ba? Tapos, pretty sure si Mr. Sinister lalabas yan kasi magkakadikit na yan. Tapos, you know what I mean? So, like,
It's gonna be super, But
it's going to be amazing.
But catch it if you're a fan of the 90s animated series, and obviously, I think this is an easy watch. If you're not, if you have never seen anything, it's also a great introduction. So check it out. X-Men 97. It's currently on Disney Plus. First 2 episodes are out as of this recording. Probably by the time this recording gets released, it'll be on its 3rd or 4th episode, maybe. Go check it out.
So,
of course, we want to
go.
thank our partners, the Pod Network Entertainment. On social media, we're at OnlyFunPH, at Chico Garcia for him, at Gino.Killiamore for me.
All right. So, to me, our only fun listeners, we will see you next episode.
To me, my X-Men.
To me,
Damn.
my X-Men. Tsaka
And then
kasi,
Wolverine's probably like, whatever.
whatever, loser. Whatever, one eye.
Boy Scout.
Whatever, Boy Scout. I love Jean
Put
Grey.
a sock in it, bub.
Ooh, Jean Grey.
Oh,
Love
Jean. Ooh. I wonder, no? Sorry, quick one. Because Morph can turn into Jean Grey.
Stop.
And
Alam mo, stop, you dirty person, you. Stop. You are disgusting.
I mean, as a friend, as a really good friend. I mean, why
Ah,
not?
sige, kung maging si Mystique ako, tapos sabihin ko, Gino boy,
Kung atin lang ba eh.
kaya kong maging si,
Okay, Kate Beckinsale. No?
Kate Beckinsale, game. Pero ganito yung boses.
Pero yung boses mo, ganun ba rin pass? Pero diba? Kasi I remember in one scene when Wolverine and Morph were talking and Morph shifted into Jean Grey, he actually said like Jean and then changed his mind and said Morph. Diba? Like he thought he was talking to Jean for a second. Can you imagine what this guy?
Can you imagine if Mystique and Morph
got together?
They'd be like, I can be whoever you want me to be. Tapos sabihin nila, same.
Oh, hard same. Diba sino gusto mo?
They can make any combination.
Man, I don't think they'll ever get tired in bed.
Right?
There's always something new.
Araw-araw, iba, no? Wild.
All right. Well, anyway, that's
All
for
right.
another animated series that we
Maybe an R18 episode of Only Fun.
We'll
Bye,
see you guys
guys.
next time. Bye.
The opinions of podcast creators, hosts, and guests are not necessarily reflective of the official stance of the Pod Network Entertainment, its hosts, or other network programs. The content created by the people behind the podcast is personal and not meant to harm any religion, ethnicity, group, organization, company, or individual.